history lesson
about the stupidest movement besides women's rights. And that movement is
temperance.
yeah.
So Bam's doing some other shit right now, so I'm going to be explaining what we're doing today. So this is during the Second Great Awakening in the 1820s, when everyone was kind of focusing on their production and living their life. And then some people were just like, you know what, they're having too much fun. We need to focus on faith. You know what?
What, ma'am?
My children are having too much fun. They're thinking about how they're going to be productive in life, and I just think that's wrong. We need to focus on God.
I agree!
So they came up with this thing called moral free agency. That's what we know as it now. And it was basically, you have the will to choose whether you want to be a sinner or a perfect angel. And that determines your afterlife.
Wow, this is the smartest I've ever heard you be.
Thank you, I'm literate. So we see this now today as the perfectibility of man. So it means you can't be as good as God, but you can try. And that's where the women are supposed to be the moral teacher for family. Which leads us to...
Temperance!
When did this start?
The temperance movement started from the 1820s to the 1918s.
And what was the goal?
To voluntarily cut back on alcohol.
And why?
Because it leads to immoral behavior. Let's cut to the chase and show you some examples.
Like men drinking away their paychecks. Chug!
Very hot pressured.
Like abusing their wife and children.
Oh my god! Get back in the kitchen and make me a sandwich!
And dying from, drinking too much booze.
Oh shit! I think I drank too much boobs! I think I'm gonna die now! Oh.
So of course, their women and children were in danger because you never really knew how your husband was gonna come home, So that leads us to Lyman Beecher. He helped form the
Temperance Society of 1826!
So basically, this is women in moral suasion, and their job was to basically kind of send their husbands to, workshops. So they were kind of aiming more of middle class and immigrants, but they got a lot of feedback from white men, like the working class. So what they did was they kind of built workshops for women to attend these workshops, not because they need help with drinking, to encourage the other women to help their husbands stop drinking. And that's some bull. And that leads to the
development of Washington societies.
And basically that's when men talk about their drinking experiences. So it's like a AA meeting, And then by 1845, drinking went down about 45%. So, that's a big decrease, but that means the other math, the other bigger half is still drinking. So I have with me the answers to life. Thank you, Vanessa. So this tree map here tells us that if you don't drink and you don't beat your wife and children, that you will have a peaceful end and riches and good sense. And if you don't, well, then you're gonna die. And now we will be reenacting an excerpt from the 10 dialogues on the effects of ardent spirits. Father.
Yes, disciple.
So we know the dangers of this devil's juice that's been going around, rum, but we have no idea how or where it's coming from.
Well, they're sold at the grocery stores and the bars.
I can't imagine anyone buying this wicked and sinful, poisonous stuff to sell. But where do the grocers and the merchants get it from, Father?
Look here, Philip. They are furnished from the finest stills.
What is a still, Father?
Well, it's basically a place where you make all of the alcohol at. Remember that black building we saw? That is the gates of hell.
What is our dead spirits made of, Father?
Well, you see here, whiskey is made of molasses, and gin is made of grains. Hey.
But molasses is really good and nourishing. Why waste it on rum? And rum and corn are so fine to make bread and puddings. What are we using gin and whiskey for?
These are all excellent questions, Philip. The reason why people decide to make these horrid drinks is because they want to indulge in sin. And us, as believers, believe that alcohol, it causes nothing but destruction, perverts, all these bad people. So we need to put down the drinks and indulge in the Lord instead of indulging in alcohol. Amen. I also forgot to add, the Bible teaches us that being so caught up in money is the root of all evil. We need to stop using the money for bad and put it towards the church instead of alcohol. Money is, again, the root of all evil!
So I hope you enjoyed a little accurate reenactment there. And now, what we're gonna do is, Bam's gonna sing us a song here. It's called, it's his favorite song, actually. It's called the Temperance Song of 1842.
The weakest of all earthly drinks doth make the strongest man. Doth make the strongest man, my friends, doth make the strongest man. Then let us take that weakest drink and grow the strongest man. I've seen the bells of tulips turn to drink the drops that fell. America.
So basically, I'm so sorry you had to see that, but it tells a good story. Because basically what it means is this is
what the hell do you mean?
This is what they wanted, you know, for their life, for their children. They wanted a world where they could basically
have no fun.
Or they just wanted it to be pure, and they always sang this in churches and schools and around their family because this is the kind of world they wanted.
This is your kind of world.
This is not my kind of world. This is like, you know, all the men, when they would spend all their money on drinking and all that stuff and go poor, they didn't want that. They wanted to make sure that everyone is growing up healthy, and, you know, they really believed that this is the way to grow up pure and the virtue of good.
This is all I hear you doing.
So I hope you enjoyed this little history lesson given by Darius and Badass Mike.
Aren't you sad that we have to go?
No, because I can go home away from you.
We live together. It's Badass Mike!
Darius! Signing off!
Thank you for watching this episode of
You along for the ride! Darius and Badass Mike! Darius and Badass Mike! Darius and Badass Mike! They're gonna take you along for the ride! Woo!